Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the strategic investment potential of Bangladesh. This is a country rapidly transitioning from a developing economy into a genuine manufacturing-driven industrial powerhouse. If you're an investor looking to deploy capital in an emerging market with massive consumer demand, this is absolutely where you need to be looking right now.
To help you strategically allocate your capital, we've broken the top 10 opportunities down into three distinct investment tiers based on required capital, ranging from accessible, high-margin plays all the way up to visionary growth. Then we'll wrap up with a practical blueprint for execution. Let's get into it.
First up, the macro context, the Bangladesh boom.
Before we start picking specific industries, we really need to grasp the sheer scale of the demand here. We are talking about a rapidly urbanizing population of over 170 million people. Because of this massive consumer base, manufacturing now accounts for a full one-fourth, literally 25% of the country's gross domestic product. And hey, this isn't happening by accident. It's being fueled by rising middle-class incomes, rapid urbanization, and a government that is aggressively encouraging industrial investment with tax incentives, reduced import duties on machinery, and specialized economic zones. Now, you might be wondering, why not just import and trade? It's a fair question. Trading definitely seems like a simpler operation with a lot less initial planning. But here's the thing. Manufacturing provides the true long-term scalability and superior profit margins that serious investors are really after. It allows for high-value addition, brand development, and crucial export opportunities. Basically, it's the difference between capturing a quick transaction and building sustainable, generational wealth.
That brings us to Tier 1, accessible, high-margin investments.
This first tier is all about accessible entry points that offer incredibly fast investment recovery times. We're talking just 2 to 4 years. As you can see, opportunities like spice processing, paper products, and cosmetics require a relatively modest capital injection, somewhere between 45 lakh and 1.5 crore Bangladeshi taka. Yet, they boast highly attractive margins. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. These satisfy daily, recurring consumer demands. Everyone uses spices every single day. Every restaurant needs paper products. These are high-volume, continuous consumption cycles that keep your cash flowing.
Just consider the staggering potential for up to a 45% net profit margin in the cosmetics and personal care industry. That is massive. This sector is absolutely exploding right now, thanks to rising disposable incomes, social media influence, and just a general increase in grooming awareness. The raw materials, things like surfactants, essential oils, and herbal extracts, typically only account for 30 to 50% of the product's selling price. That leaves immense room for profit.
Now, when we look at the paper products sector, the dynamic shifts from personal grooming over to institutional changes. By allocating capital to paper products like your everyday cups, plates, and bags, you are directly capitalizing on long-term environmental market trends and shifting corporate behavior. With the government pushing hard against single-use plastics, your market here is virtually guaranteed to expand. It's a remarkably safe bet. Moving up the capital ladder, let's look at Tier 2, scalable B2B ventures.
These mid-tier investments require a bit more upfront, usually between 75 lakh and 4 crore taka. But while the initial cost is higher, these businesses thrive on stable institutional demand, offering a really solid investment recovery window of 3 to 6 years. We're looking at things like packaged water, modern MDF furniture, plastic products, corrugated cartons, and garment accessories. The absolute secret sauce here? Repeat B2B contracts. Once you lock in a client, whether that's an office that needs water or a huge factory needing cartons, that recurring revenue stream practically stabilizes your cash flow for you. Let's zero in on one of these strongest performers in this tier, garment accessories. Investing here means your wealth creation is directly tethered to the massive, ongoing success of Bangladesh's export-oriented apparel sector. These factories constantly need labels, tags, polybags, buttons, you name it. And because this demand is tied to global exports, it remains remarkably stable and resilient, even if the domestic economy happens to fluctuate.
Another brilliant play in Tier 2 is plastic manufacturing. This is a perfect example of an operational hedge. A single multi-million taka injection molding machine can pivot from making household items, like buckets and hangers, straight over to industrial containers, just by swapping out the steel molds. This unparalleled versatility significantly de-risks your initial machinery investment. It's like having multiple factories rolled into one machine.
Now, for the big leagues. Tier 3, high capital, visionary growth.
For investors aiming for the ultimate long-term industrial plays, these high-capital ventures, specifically LED light manufacturing and agricultural machinery, position you perfectly ahead of national megatrends. Yes, they require anywhere from 1 to 5 crore taka, advanced technology, and significant factory space. But they lock your capital into unstoppable market trajectories, offering solid 15 to 30% margins. You aren't just selling a product here. You are literally supplying the fundamental infrastructure and agricultural needs of a rapidly developing nation.
Understanding the underlying drivers for this tier is absolutely crucial. Listen to this dynamic. Labor shortages in rural areas, increasing agricultural wages, rising food demand, and robust government support are actively encouraging farmers to adopt machinery. That perfectly captures why agricultural machinery is perhaps the single strongest long-term growth opportunity out there. As urban migration causes rural labor shortages, mechanization isn't just a luxury anymore. It's an absolute necessity for Bangladesh's food security. Plus, heavy government subsidies are actively incentivizing farmers to buy exactly what you'd be building. But a quick heads up, executing at this tier requires some serious hardware. For LED assembly, you need surface mount technology from places like Japan, Germany, or China, operating in highly controlled, dust-free environments. For agriculture, you're looking at heavy CNC cutting machines and hydraulic presses. This means expansive facility footprints, anywhere from 8,000 to up to 25,000 square feet. This is heavy industry at its very core.
Finally, let's walk through the factory setup blueprint.
Choosing your industry is really only half the battle. To actually execute your vision, you have to navigate the local regulatory pipeline on the ground. This 4-step bureaucratic process is absolutely non-negotiable. First, you need your financial and trade registrations, your trade license, business identification number, and taxpayer identification number. Second is the environmental clearance certificate, which is critical for waste management. Third comes factory registration and rigorous fire safety approvals. And finally, depending on what you're making, certifications from BSTI or the DGDA for consumer safety. Securing these licenses in this exact sequence ensures your operations won't be suddenly shut down by compliance issues once your machines are finally running.
Ultimately, keeping your factory running requires way more than just deploying capital. You need uncompromised quality and strong branding, for sure. But above all else, it demands ruthless financial and cash flow management. It's a harsh reality, but many manufacturing businesses don't fail from a lack of sales. They fail from poor liquidity and mismanaged working capital. Keep a close eye on the money coming in versus the money going out.
So as Bangladesh rapidly transforms into a global industrial powerhouse, the opportunity is crystal clear. Whether it's the fast turnaround margins of Tier 1, the B2B stability of Tier 2, or the visionary infrastructure plays of Tier 3, the real question is, where will you strategically place your capital to create sustainable, scalable wealth in this booming market? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this helps you confidently craft your next major investment thesis.